Hello, beautiful people. It's your girl again, Blessing Modipelo Abusala. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, you're highly welcome, and please kindly subscribe. And for my VVIPs, my returning subscribers, thank you so much for coming again to watch another video from yours truly. Okay, today we are discussing something different. This channel is basically for talking about God's love, faith, and general lifestyle, but this is really the first video where I'm talking about God's love and faith. Yeah. And today it's tagged Bible with blessing. I'll be doing this often, so let's just dive into it. Okay, today we are discussing about a Bible character, Rahab. Yes, Rahab the prostitute. That's a nickname. Every Christian is meant to have heard, if not read, about Rahab. And yes, it's more like we are doing a Bible study. I discovered some things about Rahab recently, and I want to share it with you. It's something that I love to do, actually. Discovering a truth from scriptures and sharing with people, like, let me share these things with you. If you feel the same way, okay, what do you think about it? So, the story of Rahab is in Joshua chapter 2. I'll be reading and talking on some verses that actually caught my attention. Alright, let's dive into it. Joshua chapter 2. By the way, I'll be reading from the easy to read version. Okay. Joshua, son of Nun, and all the people were camped at Acacia. Joshua sent out 2 spies. No one knew that Joshua sent out these men. Joshua said to them, "Go and look at the land, especially the city of Jericho." So the men went to the city of Jericho and stayed at the house of a prostitute named Rahab. Why the house of Rahab? You will soon discover that it was the house of Rahab because, first off, it was by the wall. Secondly, God had seen the heart of Rahab, that she trusted him. Like, Rahab had a great faith. God, faith is something of the heart, first of all, before being professed and before being backed up by action. So God saw the heart of Rahab and ordered the steps of Caleb and Joshua to her house. When I was reading this scripture, I understood, that was where I understood that scripture that says, the steps of a righteous man are ordered by God. This was exactly what happened to Joshua and Caleb. So let's read on verse 2. But someone told the king of Jericho last night, some men from Israel came to look for witnesses in our country. Who were those people? Of course, the Gads. So the king of Jericho sent this message to Rahab. Do not hide the men who came and stayed in your house. Bring them out. They have come to spy on our country. Verse 4. Rahab had hidden the 2 men, but she said, they did come here, but I didn't know where they came from. In the evening, when it was time to close the city gates, the men left. I don't know where they went, but if you go quickly, maybe you can catch them. Rahab said this, but really, she had taken the men up to the roof and had hidden them in the flags that she had piled up there. First of all, I'd like to say that I don't know the act of faith that is more than this. Do you know that Rahab could have been killed if they had eventually found out that she was actually hiding the spies? That scripture where Jesus said, I think it was John that was saying that God laid down his life for us. I think it's 1 John 3:16 or thereabout. And so we should also lay down our lives for the brethren. This was the exact thing Rahab was trying to do. She was ready to be killed. Like, the king could have found out and she would have been killed. That's first an act of faith. She had the faith and she backed it up by action. That's the first act of faith. She hid the spies. Now let's read on. So the king's men went out of the city and the people closed the city gates. The king's men went to look for the 2 men from Israel. They went to the Jordan River and looked at all the places where people crossed the river. The 2 men were ready to sleep for the night. She did not only keep them, she also kept them till night. It was a dangerous adventure, but she did. simply because she had faith in the God of Israel. Let's read on. She said, now, verse 8, the two men were ready to sleep for the night, but Rahab went to the roof to talk to them. She said, I know that the Lord has given this land to your people. How? How did you know? You've not seen it. She said, you frighten us. Everyone living in this country is afraid of you. We are afraid because we have heard about the ways that the Lord helped you. We have heard. Every one of them heard, but it was not every one of them that the word was mixed with faith in them. Like, scripture says that we heard the word, it's mixed with faith in us, but it didn't mix with faith in them. And what was the word she heard? She only heard about the miraculous deed that God wrought for the children of Israel. Yes, we will read on, but I really want to let you know that there are some things at this point. I learned here that there are some things that will happen in your life, or presently happening in your life, and it feels as if God, like, it's not as if this thing is difficult for you to do, man. God was telling Moses that, see, it's not as if I cannot kill the king Pharaoh and or Pharaoh, whichever way, and bring out the people of Israel. But no. God actually wrought those miraculous deeds, first for the children of Israel and their generations to come. Secondly, for the people that will hear and believe, people like Rahab. So some things may be happening in your life now, and it feels as if, hey, Jesus is Lord. Yes, Jesus is Lord, but then it may not really be for you. It may be for someone else who will hear how God delivered you out of that thing and believe in your God. So let's keep reading on. She said, we heard that it dried up the Red Sea when you came out of Egypt. We also heard what you did to the two Amorite kings, Sihon and Og. We heard how you destroyed those kings living east of the Jordan River. When we heard these things, we were afraid. And now, not one of our men is brave enough to fight you, because the Lord your God rules the heavens above and the earth below. See, these are the things Rahab believed in her heart, and she's just confessing it with her mouth. She believed in her heart, and she's confessing it to those people. God knew, God saw it, God saw her heart already. And so, God didn't see anyone. God didn't know anyone. He would have ordered the steps of the spies to other than Rahab. You know how Jesus said, scripture says that there were many widows in Zarephath, but God sent Elijah to the widow of Zarephath, that one widow. It had a reason. God is not someone that will just do things for no reason. It had a reason. Yeah. Let's read on. Verse 12 says, so now I want you to make a promise to me. I was kind to you and helped you. So promise me before the Lord that you will be kind to my family. Please tell me that you will do this. She didn't only believe, she didn't only confess, she believed that the wall of Jericho will be pulled down one day and it will be destroyed. And so she's asking for a favor. You know how scripture says the name of the Lord is a strong tower, and those that run into it will be saved. This is exactly what's happening here. Let's read on, my people. She said, tell me that you will allow my family to live, my father, mother, brothers, sisters, and all their families. Not just my nuclear family, but also my extended families. When I was reading, I was like, how did she convince them? How was she able to convince not only her nuclear family, but even her extended family? Because if you read chapter 3 and 4 and like that, you will discover that she was eventually saved with her families. Promise me that you will save us from death. The men agreed and said, we will trade our lives for yours. Don't tell anyone what we are doing. Then, when the Lord gives us this land, we will be kind to you and you can trust us. Rahab's house was built into the city wall, so she used a rope to let the men down through a window. Then she said to them, go into the hills so that the king's men will not accidentally find you. Hide there for 3 days. After the king's men come back, you can go on your way. She didn't just only release them, she gave them tips on how to hide. Another act of faith. The men said to her, that's verse 17, we made a promise to you, but you must do one thing. or we will not be responsible for our promise. When we come back to this land, you must tie in your window this red rope you are using to help us escape. You know, it's even risky. They asked her to leave the rope there. They asked her to tie the rope there, but I think there was a version. I think when I was reading NIV, yes, it was NIV version that I was using to study it. So when I was reading NIV, it was said that she left the rope there, like she left the rope there, and you know, it was actually a risky thing. Okay, verse 18. When we come back to this land, you must tie in your window this red rope you are using to help us escape. You must bring your father, your mother, your brothers, and all your family into your house with you. Wait. You know how it was difficult for Noah to speak to those people during his own time, for them to enter the ark? How did Rahab manage to speak to his nuclear family and his extended family to come and start living with her in that house? I want to believe she stopped prostitute. Of course, it's not written in scripture, and I'm not making this a general thing. It's just something I do, because an act of faith that could have made them believe her so well and stayed in the house till the Jericho wall was destroyed. It was not a small act of faith. It was not a small convincing or conviction. I mean, it was not a small thing. What she did to convince them was not a small thing. She must have stopped prostituting and tell them, see, this thing will soon be destroyed. So, I mean, she couldn't be prostituting when her families were living with her. She did something that made these people say, if this person could do this, then of a truth, this world will be destroyed. And they believed her, and they, she did something. What she did was what I don't know, but she did something, honestly. She did something. And I believe that it was that she stopped prostituting. Okay, or she stopped prostitution. We are making this agreement with you, but if you tell anyone about what we are doing, we will be free from this agreement. Rahab answered, I will do just what you said. Another act of faith. Rahab answered, I will do just what you said. She said goodbye, and the men left her house. Then she tied the red rope in the window. It was immediately. I didn't even know that. Easy to read version also said it. It was immediately. Everything she did was like she could have been killed. I don't know what act of faith is more than this, or her more than this, because no, Rahab was a woman of faith. So sometimes when we compare prostitutes of nowadays, even though they go to church, to Rahab, I don't really get it. You know why? Because, like, of course, we all know that there's nobody God cannot save, and that's why stories like Rahab is written. Like, the story of Rahab is written in scriptures, because, you know, if you read Luke 1, where the genealogy of Jesus was written, you will discover that Rahab was one of the great-great-grandmothers of Jesus, and if Jesus could choose the lineage of someone like Rahab, of course, because of our faith, of course, now, and we know that Hebrews 11, yes, where the heroes of faith were listed, we all know that the name of Rahab was among those that were listed there, because this act of faith, no be beans. I mean, it's no beans. So sometimes when we compare these things, I feel like, nah, they are not the same thing at all. Because if you hear, she heard, she has not seen, no, she didn't see it. She only heard of the miraculous deed that God wrought for the children of Israel, and she believed. And she did not just only believe, because God saw her heart. She backed those things with action. She kept the spies, she let them out, she told them how to hide, she asked them for a favor because she believed that the wall of Jericho would be pulled down. She even confessed that the Lord your God is the Lord that rules in heavens and on earth. I don't know what I have to see. know how scripture says faith without action is dead. So sometimes when we want to compare our now prostitute to Rahab, let's look at it very well. Let's sit down to think about it very well. I mean, she did not just only believe, she convinced her family to believe. How did she pull that out? Like, okay. These are the things I learned or have discovered about Rahab. It wasn't as if she just only believed, her faith was backed up by action. Okay, if there's anything you've discovered about Rahab, let me know. Let me know. And put it in the comment section. And if there's a story you want us to discuss, put it in the comment section. If there's a character you want us to talk about, put it in the comment section. All right, I hope you've enjoyed this Bible with blessing. All right, take care of yourself, enjoy yourself. See you in my next video. Bye guys.